Welcome to this Wednesday's teaching in the book of 2 Thessalonians. Before we get into the teaching today, let me just ask you, if you would like to help us out, hit the like button. Also hit the subscribe button, and you will get notifications every time we put up a new video. And then hit the share button. You know what? Your friends need words of encouragement. And that is what the Word of God does for us as believers. They need the Word of God. So share it with them. Share it on your Facebook sites and on your X site and Instagram or wherever you're looking. Share the Word of God. And this is one of the easiest ways for you to do it. Maybe put in there, I'm thinking about you here. Listen to this. This is something you need. So will you do that? Thank you for doing that. Today we're in the 4th verse of the 3rd chapter of the book of 2 Thessalonians. The Apostle Paul is bringing this letter to a close. And he's saying some very powerful and some very needful things. Let me just remind you that the church in Thessalonica is going through very difficult times. Persecution has risen. It was stirred up by the Jewish people, people that were trying to put to end the gospel or the spreading of the gospel. But then they began to stir up evil men in the marketplace. And you know what? The church at Thessalonica is really going through a rough time. But in the midst of that rough time, the church at Thessalonica is growing. And it's reaching people. It is such a dynamic church, and that's one of the reasons why we're doing these studies both in 1st and 2nd Thessalonians, because the church in Thessalonica is such a great example for every church. And so in verse number 4, the Apostle Paul says this: "We have confidence in the Lord concerning you." Now notice the Apostle Paul didn't say we have confidence in you. You see, in verse number 3, he just told the Thessalonians that God's always faithful and that God will protect them. And he told them that God will strengthen them. He will cause their legs to be strong, both physically and spiritually and emotionally. And now he continues and he says, I have this confidence in the Lord. Where is Paul's confidence? Is it in the program that he instituted at the church in Thessalonica? Is he saying, we're doing all the right things at the right time. We're doing a great Christmas program and a great Easter program, and we're doing this and this and this. No, Paul's not saying that. Paul is saying, my confidence is in the Lord, but my confidence is towards you. I know that the Lord will keep you no matter what's going on. What wonderful words of assurance. When a leader gets up and says, well, this is our program and this program will work. Well, that's nice. But you know what? When a leader gets up and says, you know what? Our confidence is in the Lord for you. In other words, we're trusting God to take care of you. How many of you know God is unlimited? He has no limits. He has no limits as far as knowledge and wisdom. He has no limits as far as power. He has no limits as far as what he can do. He doesn't have to ask permission. Do you understand? And so Paul is saying to the Thessalonians, we have confidence in the Lord concerning you. Confidence in the Lord, not in a program, not in a church growth seminar, but our confidence is in the Lord. Now, the end of verse number 4. that you are doing and will continue to do what we commanded. Paul is confident that these Thessalonians are going to continue to do what the Apostle Paul had commanded them. You see, in the 3 weeks that the Apostle Paul was there in Thessalonica, in the writing of 1 Thessalonians, the Apostle Paul gave instruction to this church. Now, his confidence is in the Lord. Why? Because he knew that what he was speaking to the Thessalonians was the word of the Lord. And you see, the Apostle Paul has this confidence that the Lord's going to take what's been spoken and he's going to begin to apply it to the lives of the people in Thessalonica. Again, he says that you are doing and will continue to do. Now, the Apostle Paul is quite a long ways away. He's in the city of Corinth. But his confidence is in the Lord. And his confidence is in the Lord that the things that he told those Thessalonians that they needed to do, that they are doing them right now. And that they're not only doing them right now, but they've made a commitment to the Word of God. They've made a commitment to what the Apostle Paul has taught them. And they're going to continue to do that very same thing. You know, there's churches in Thessalonica today that date back to this original church in Thessalonica. There's believers there that are continuing to do what the Apostle Paul preached to them. And why are they doing it? Because what the Apostle Paul preached to them was the word of the Lord. It was from the Lord. When the Apostle Paul stood up in the synagogue or wherever he was teaching, and when he stood up and began to teach, he was teaching what God was saying. Not what he was saying. He wasn't teaching some philosophy. How many of you know Thessalonica was full of philosophies? The Apostle Paul was teaching the Word of God. And because of that, he had confidence in the Lord. And he had confidence in the Lord that the Thessalonians were doing what they were told, but also that they were going to continue to do what they were told. Wow. Do you understand that Paul's confidence is in the Lord? But he can have confidence in the Lord because of what he delivered to the Thessalonican church. What a beautiful, beautiful thing. Thank you for watching us. Join us again tomorrow as we continue this study in the book of 2 Thessalonians.